Welcome back to the Find Your Voice podcast. My name is Freya Casey. I'm a professional singer and vocal coach, still currently in Germany, but planning to move back to Texas because I lived there for 7 years before and I actually really loved it. And I'm very passionate about personal development, growing, expanding my consciousness and horizons, and creating the life of my dreams. I don't know what's happening today. My voice is a bit phlegmy and low. So I'm pouring a little bit of tea. I'm going to have a little drink of tea here. My twins both have a cold right now. It's not really terrible, but they have a head cold. So snotty nose and a little bit of a cough. So they didn't sleep all too well. Both of them have it. And they all kind of halfway woke up and then they want me to close to them. They all sleep in my bed. So it's easy enough, but I kind of just was woken up like about 5-6 times. Okay, a drink of tea. I didn't realize I was this rough. Okay, I wanted to talk a little bit about today about being the devil's advocate. I actually love doing this. So I have a really dear friend of mine. He's also a pianist. He's amazing. His name is Helge, and we've been friends for, let's see, how long? It's been about 18 years, I think. We met couple years after I moved here to Germany. I think it should have been maybe 2007 or so. I found him on the internet and he was a pianist in my city. And for some reason, I was pretty new back here in Germany. I got my degree at Southern Methodist University. I sang opera there, and then I moved to Germany. And I moved to this area where I live right now in the south of Germany. And I didn't really know anyone. I didn't really have any connections. So I kind of searched the internet and I found him, and sounded all good what was on there. So I touched base. I think I sent him an email asking him if he was interested in making a project together, like just doing some music together, maybe, doing a project, practicing some songs, and then maybe a concert. So we met up and we kind of immediately hitting it off, like as a musical team. He felt music in a very similar way that I felt music. So we started working together, and we've done so many gigs together and so many things. And besides that, we have become very dear friends. He's one of my best friends, and it's been great. He actually opened the doors for me to be on cruise ships. And so I went all over the world because he got that connection for me. We actually went to Antarctica together on a cruise ship, and I was the solo artist and he was the pianist for, I think 5 weeks we were together. That was kind of a fun time. We also went to the Easter Islands, which, it's only one, Easter Island, with all the Moais, I think that's what they're called, those big statues. It was really cool. But why am I telling you about Helge? Because he is someone, and I've kind of always admired that. He is very open-minded, and open-minded in the sense of trying to understand all sides of an argument. So he always is someone who says, yeah, I guess I could see how you could come up with that thought, or I could understand how someone could come up with that decision or end up doing that, but also at the same time advocating for the other side and saying, but I could also understand the other side. And I feel like I actually like doing this too. And especially during these times right now, there's so much division that has happened in the past few years. Just think back about COVID, all the things. I mean, I watched friendships ending on Facebook because someone had an opinion that someone else didn't agree with. Then there was a big argument and basically friendships ended, which I never understood how you could just end a friendship over a difference in opinion. Yes, we always think that whatever we believe in, it's a foundational thing. But even within a family sometimes, and yes, I did actually hear stories of families dividing, of divorces happening literally because on the issue of whatever happened with COVID, whether you should get vaccinated or not, or whether you support wearing masks or not, divorces happened, which was always a little bit crazy to me. But even right now, during this time, not only in the US, I just recently talked about it, there was an election, we know the outcome, and half the country is happy now and half the country is not happy because it's not what they voted for. This is a democracy, and this is just the nature of it. And in Germany, the system is slightly different. You don't actually short lesson in how elections work in Germany. When we have an actual Bundestagswahl, so we give our vote to a party, but then what happens in the end, not the party that gets the most percentage and votes ends up actually controlling everything. The party that actually ends up in the government, and we don't have anything like, the president here is a little bit different. We have a president, but the president is more culturally representative. The chancellor is the one that is actually more politically responsible and politically representative. Yes, there is a chancellor, but then apart from that, we have a party system, and it's a multi-party system. It's not just two. There are many different parties. So there are, supposedly the middle. There is the more socialist, maybe leaning left, but not extreme left. Then we have, the Christian party is supposed to be like the middle, the conservative. And then we have something that leans more left. Actually, there are a couple parties right now that lean more left. And then there's one, they have gotten kind of big, leaning more right. So more on a more nationalistic mindset. So now there's a lot of division in Germany because that right-leaning party has gained a lot of momentum. A lot of people have voted for them in the states. And the next big election, I think, is coming up next year. And everyone is kind of afraid. It's like, it's almost like if someone talks about that right-leaning party and supporting them, it's almost like it's embarrassing. You can't talk about it. It's like with Trump before the elections, it was almost like you would be bashed if you supported Trump. It was certainly like this here in Germany because I talked to a few friends and we just kind of talked about what's about to happen in the US. And I said, I think Trump has pretty good chances. But the way the media portrayed it here in Germany was that there's absolutely no way. Kamala Harris is definitely going to be the next president because Trump is a nutcase and it's just crazy. There's just no way people are voting for him. But I watched the news across the board and also independent media. And my feeling was, I think there are a lot of people who really actually support Trump because it represents their frustrations of what has been happening and what they want to change. So yes, he ended up winning. And now, I think now it's time to come together. But the point I'm making is I always try to not demonize the other side. Even when I watch, when I watched Donald Trump, and yes, he said some crazy stuff. It's just his personality. I try to understand where is he coming from. He's coming from a world of business sharks maybe, of making a lot of deals. It's tough and you have to deal with people in that manner. So I kind of understand where he comes from. I'm always trying to kind of see the story of how was that person made that I see right now? What made this person the way they are right now? And I totally understand. And I also look at Kamala Harris and I'm thinking, no one gets up in the morning and thinks like I just want to be this person that is not credible and that flip-flops. No one does that. So I genuinely believe that even people who we think are really bad people, no one gets up in the morning and thinks, I'm just going to be this really evil person today, or I'm going to be really crazy. I'm going to do bad things that people hate. No one does that. Everyone truly believes in what they stand for, and they actually believe it's the right thing. So when I look at Kamala Harris, I just feel like right now, even after the elections, I feel like she was devastated, hurt, and I'm trying to feel what is happening with this person. And I understand from a human standpoint. I understand. She's a human being and Trump is a human being. And everyone here in Germany who wants to vote for the right-leaning party, they're all human beings. And you know what? When you actually read their program and everything they want and everything they stand for, the media lies about what it is that they stand for. It's not true. And also on the left, It's just not true. The right portrays the left in the wrong light, and vice versa. And why? It's because we like demonizing people who don't believe what we believe. And you know what? Even someone during COVID who believed different things than I believed, I never was out there advocating for what I believed in. All I can say is that I have to make a decision for myself and my family. And whatever I decide, I have to live with the consequences of what I decided. So I'm trying to make the best informed decision for me and my children. I can't vouch for anyone else, and I can't tell anyone what they're supposed to do, nor is it my job, nor is it my right to really demand what anyone should do or believe or think. So just try to be the devil's advocate. So the person that you're opposed to, try to imagine, try to put yourself in their shoes. And how did they get here? And you know what? Every time I tried this and I really put myself in their shoes and asked myself, how could they come to this conclusion? I really understood from a human standpoint. And they're not dumb. It's so easy. It is so easy just to shut yourself off emotionally and just put that person or even a government or whatever, a group, into this box of, they're crazy. They're dumb. Do you know what? They're probably not. I don't really know a person that is like there's just a dumb person. You know what? Even someone who is not particularly educated. Now, there is a difference between not being educated, which it might not be even be someone's fault if they're not educated. Maybe they didn't go to school because they didn't have an opportunity. Maybe they didn't want to. Maybe there were circumstances. You just don't know. I don't believe circumstances are an excuse for anything. But when it comes to like anything that doesn't truly harm someone, I could still see why someone could have a specific opinion and how they could be in this camp or in that camp and belong to this group or that group and maybe make this decision or that decision. That doesn't mean it justifies everything, but we have to come to this point to where we stop putting everyone who is not on our side into this box of dumb, all of them are uneducated, or they're just insane, like completely taking away any of their credibility. Maybe they're wrong on this one topic, and there could be arguments forever and ever about topics, such as abortion. It's a very divisive topic. But when you really break it down to, what does actually really everyone want? Everyone wants to have personal freedom to make their own decisions. We can't argue about that. Everyone wants that. And everyone agrees that life is precious. Now, of course, we agree. And then, of course, we could ask, so what stands above? Like, what is the top priority here? Is it my interest? Or we could argue, this is a very philosophical question. When does life begin? When does consciousness begin? Are we allowed to, when we do IVF, I did this. It's not like we're playing God. In the end, I believe God is the one controlling life or death. The way it happens, that's probably our decision, but whether there's life or death, that is definitely God's decision. But we do this all the time. We think we can control things in life and about life and death, and we won't let someone die who certainly is going to die, and we keep them alive. So that is okay, but then it's not okay for the same person to maybe, if a pregnancy was not wanted, to then, terminate that. I'm not even telling you any of this is what I agree with, but what I'm saying is that we basically all agree on a lot of things, and the interpretation of the details differs. And these are deeply philosophical questions sometimes. So maybe try to play the devil's advocate. I promise you'll have a much easier life. And I feel like for me, it's too exhausting to be filled with hatred and despise. I don't even like the feeling. That's why I try to not let it take over at all. Instead of coming up with despise and hatred, I try to either detach completely and tell myself, if I cannot change anything about the situation, then I need to detach, because I'm going to drive myself crazy if I just tell myself over and over again, this is horrible, this can't be, but it is, and it's happening. So if I can't change it, it's like the Stoics. It doesn't mean you're just letting everything happen, but if you truly cannot control it, detach from the outcome. And if you can control it, do something that is good, that contributes to something positive, what you believe is positive. And you can never contribute anything positive by being negative, filled with hatred, and despise. It just doesn't work. In my experience, it only poisons my own mind. It only poisons my emotional state, and that's nothing I want. It's actually quite rewarding to try to come down from the high horse, which is hard for me too, because I feel like I've read a lot of books and I feel like I know a lot of things, but yet I have to find that even though I'm often right about things when I research a lot and then I come up with my conclusion, but I know that I'm human and I'm always biased. 100% every human will be biased. So I am totally biased. So going to the States, there are things that would have been great with Kamala, and there are things that would have been great with Trump. So I'm like, whatever happens, it's not the end of the world. And whatever happens, I can't vote. So I had to just watch. Even when I'm there, I'm not going to be a citizen yet. I'm going to have a visa, and then I'm going to have a green card, and then we'll see if I ever become a citizen or not. That's all I have to say today. I don't know how to end this, except that calm yourself and try to embrace other humans around you. Try to embrace them, literally. What if it were your child and they stood for this and they wanted this? Like personally, if any of my children ever came up to me and told me, I'm homosexual, or I want to have a sex change. If they're grown up, then it's like, you are a grown person. It's your decision. You need to just do what makes you happy. Do your research. And if you come up with a conclusion that it's absolutely what you want and you are clear about the consequences, I will love you. It's not who you are. It's like you are still that same person, that same soul. And it would not determine, and even if someone wanted to vote for whoever, I don't even care. It doesn't mean they're a bad person. I would be different if you harmed people. That's definitely a whole different thing. But if you don't harm anyone, I don't care. I still could love you, whatever opinion you have. Thank you so much for listening or watching, whether you're listening to the podcast or watching on YouTube. Subscribe if you want to dive deeper into philosophical questions, mindset shifts, which are great. I love that. I can literally I can tweak my mind to where it serves me better. Until next time, dream big, because big dreams do come true. A winner is a dreamer who never gives up.